Good morning, Kumla and Ablat Gemara. Today's daf is daf Nun Gimel. We are up to the Gemara Boy Ramashi. So we're discussing the concept of drusa and of attacking animals, and we talked about in the Mishnah about a wolf, a lion, and then we talked about cat. That a cat also can cause drusa, but for equal animals, or and so on. So now we're up to birds. In the Mishnah, it says that that two kinds of birds, and one bird, the nates, which we said was a sparrow, can deal with smaller birds, and the larger bird, the gas, can deal with chickens and hens. Big machlek is showing what gas is. Rashi says gas is a specific bird, so it seems only those birds. But other Rishonim learn that gas means a big bird, literally a big bird. That means all big birds are birds of prey, and they pass venom on. We discussed yesterday about this whole concept of venom. Says the Gemara, Rashi asked the question, what about all other non-kosher birds? Yesh lehen druso, ein lehen druso. Do they have this not capacity, but are they also treated as a drusa, which means that if they afflict on other birds, they actually pass on the poison as well? One of the signs of a non-kosher bird is that they are darsim, that they are attackers, but they're birds of prey. But traces, another term explain, true, they are attackers of birds of prey, but we're talking about the poison, that the venom that passes on and eventually it burns through the flesh of this animal or these other birds. So the question is, what about all other birds of tummy? He said, say clearly that all other birds have also in it the concept of drusa. If you learn like those Rishonim that gas means all bigger birds are darsim, have venom in them, then the question really is only about the small birds. But from Rashi, that Rashi is right here, that only these two birds, nates and gas, are the ones that the Mishnah declares have this ability or have this concept of drusa. So our question is, what about other non-kosher birds? So Yud Kala said they also have it. Not just clear in the Mishnah, but drusas ha-nates be'oifadak, that the nates is the one that is dated that passes the venom to smaller birds, and drusas and some like and Ashlin gases for the larger bird, and that's it. What do you tell me? It seemed like only these two birds and nothing else. These are the exceptions. Says the Gemara, you misunderstood the Mishnah. Drusas hanates. So two answers. One way of learning is drusas hanates is the only small bird that b'de kavasi has the capacity to even instill enough venom in an equal sized bird and kill it. But the inach, all the other tamlige birds can only pass on the venom b'dezutrim minayim, birds that are smaller to them but not equal to them because they don't have sufficient venom. Or ikedamri drusas hanates. This nate has the capacity within its family of small birds. It can actually pass the venom to a larger bird than it itself is. But the rabbi mineg larger than it. But the inach, all the other ones b'de kavasaya, only if it's the same size, because the poison, the venom is not that strong. That one, even though we said by cat there is a concept of drusa, now when it comes to a fox. Wait. Not so because Abdimi Omar. Abdimi came along and said, there was a Maisa, but Doras Shul, that there was once a fox that was dated and it pounced, and the Rachel, a sheep, Bamerchetz shall base hine, in the bathhouse in a place called Beis Hine. The question is, are we worried that maybe it's a drusa? Maybe there's venom there, because by venom, even if you see that it didn't pass, it takes time. The venom sits there and then it slowly, spreads. So they said yes, drusa. They ruled the drusa. So you see, clearly here by a fox, the drusa. You got the story wrong. He wasn't a shul; it was a cat. Or Ikidami, others say yes, drusa that they said that the first version is that there is no drusa by a fox. The second one, there is a drusa fox. Ain't it not so? There's a story, the same story. They ruled ein drusa. So already have a third version of the story. First version was a fox, and they said yes drusa. Then the second version was a cat, that was yes drusa. Now we're saying it was a fox, but ein drusa. The fourth version is a dog. So how do you know we're talking about the same story? So many different things happen there. Anyway.
Everyone agrees it was in Beis Hine.
It's scary to have four versions of one story. How do you know which way then what really happened? Just like in the last few days, we had there says things over name Amoraim and turned out to be Amoraim never said it. Scary stuff. Omar Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef said, Naktinan. The rule is ein drusa lekelev. A dog does not have drusa at all. In other words, it doesn't have any venom within it whatsoever. Amar Abaye said, Abaye, Naktinan. There's still a whole issue, by the way. If these animals don't have venom and doitis, it could be, is their puncture just like a kite's, just like a thorn, and therefore we have to follow all the rules of nekiv and all that, or we say that's different. That's a separate issue altogether. But right now we're only focusing on the venom part. Naktin, the rule is Ein Drus. Abaye gives us a number of rules. Ein Drusa El Biyad. Only the foreleg has a venom in it. La Fuki Regel, to exclude the hind legs. The light. We're Dafnim Gimel. We're discussing the laws of Drusa. So Abaye is coming now and giving us a whole series of laws. Before that, we talked about which animals have in it the venom. And we concluded that a cat does have venom, but for small animals, we had a question regarding a fox, and a dog. We concluded does not have any venom. So now the Gemara comes along. Abaye says about 7-8 lines above the white lines. Abaye says, "Naktin." The rule is ein drushel bayad. Where is the venom kept? Only in the foreleg. La fuki regel. If it's in the back, behind leg, no. The leg. Ein drushel b'tzipayden. It only comes out through the nails. La fuki shed the teeth. The teeth is by a snake, but by this, it's only the la fuki shed the leg. Tases, by the way, says the Gemara keeps on talking about the volume animals atame. Says Tases because pshita the ein drusel l'tahirim. There's no question, says Tases, that there's no drusel by tahirim. So there's a machlekes in Achreinim whether this only applies to birds when Taisa says ein drusel tahirim. What about animals? Is it possible that tardic animals also have this venom? As we discussed in the last few days, we don't understand how any animals have venom, but let's whatever it is. Or when Taisa says ein drusel tahirim, means across the board. The tardic animals have no poison venom in them whatsoever. They can hurt and cause harm. Anyway. Element to point only in the nails, not the teeth like. It can only be when the animal is intentional, trying to pass on the venom. But if the animal is not, the animal is not intending to harm the other animal, and just puts his finger, claws in there, the venom won't pass. That's get angry and all that.
That kills the bacteria theory.
That's a good point.
It's on the scratch.
Jimmy, they slug you up. Good point. That's actually a very good point. Very good, huh? Unless maybe it's not so deep. Maybe it doesn't go. Maybe if it's intentional because it's angry, it goes deeper and maybe. Okay, maybe we've answered your back question. Remember, Rashi told us a few times when it comes to treifas, there's no question. You don't ask any questions. And keep me so about this is that we don't know of any animal that has venom in it at all today. And we're trying to understand this whole sugya. What's going on here? Where's the poison in animals? Snakes have it, very few. That's it. And we're talking about tipoidim, not talking about shame. We're not animals. We're talking about a zev. Zev don't have it. Ari doesn't have venom.
Is the traditional answer
That's no. So we get that answer, but then I looked up historically, never found any fossil or anything. So Yimi came up with a good idea, which actually is written in some Sfarim, and I couldn't remember which ones. I still don't remember which ones, but I know that the answer is that is it wasn't really the venom, it's that they had either there's dirt in their fingers that's built up over time and there's bacteria there, and that's the venom. Understood, yeah. But I'm saying this is how they're trying to somehow or another work it out. Trying to work it out.
There were things which were not clear.
Yeah.
And that's why when you talks about certain brias that we have no.
Yeah, but here we're talking about halachas now. We're not talking here a galut. This is mamish halachas of treifas of drusa. So especially today. Let's say nishtan nativim. I'm all yes. So what happens today?
So you're saying drusa doesn't exist now, or?
Well, we do have a halachas in other places. The Ramah Yeshulchan Aruch Even Ezra says, nishtan nativim, but I've been pes. When mamash get halacha, baby born the 8th month, mamash get halacha, and I think change.
To stay alive. To stay alive, not to make some
What's the page we use for drusa? We do is you're pressing the knife.
That's the in the shchita itself. Here we're talking about drusa, the animal is a bird of prey.
Yeah, but I'm talking about within the laws of shchita as we apply it.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do with any poison.
Yeah, the same word, but it means something else. Yeah. Yeah, that's the word. Okay. Anyhow, but if the animal is not conscious, not intent, and okay. Ein drusa ela mechayim. Drusa is only when the animal is still alive. Lafukit lachamisa. If after the animal died, if somehow or another he fell on top of the animal below, and his claws went inside, there's no drusa. But again, the law doesn't make sense. You just said that it has to be kavana. Usually, when the animal is dead, you can't have any more kavanas. So what's the point of telling me this in? We need it. The doris, when we say mace, we don't mean the animal died. We mean that this particular claw or the hand that had the claws got cut off, so the hand died. So what happened was the doris, the paskula yoda, the animal, the animal of prey, put his hand inside. Let's say whatever was the wolf or the lion, put his hand in the claws inside the animal. And before he pulled it out, you cut it off. I would have thought B'shas Ma'aseh, when he put his claws inside, he was conscious of it and was intent. So therefore, it should be considered doris. Kamashlan Bahadi the Sholif Shadizir. You know when the poison comes out, as the claws come out, which is another problem with the bacteria thing. Because when it goes in, unless it goes out, that's when the dirt comes out of the finger. If you have a line that went in amongst the cows, when you found a nail in the back on top of one of the animals, we don't say the Ari was dangerous. What do you mean? The nail, the claw of the Ari is sitting inside the animal, on top of the back of the animal. My time, Roiv Aroyes Dorsin. The way Rashi learned takes it literally. The majority of the Aroyes are dangerous. Or even though most arayis generally are doidos, so l'chari should be machna and say he came from the Arya, right? Umiyut and only miyut in the doidos, and only a miyut are not doidos. But the chol have doidos. Very similar for second page in the beginning of Ksubas. Yeah, but right, but in the verse of that you have another rule, which is that chol doidos, any animal doidos, ain't to punish method that the claws don't fall off. Since we find the nails there, what can you surmise? Aim like this: that what happened was the nail, some of the animal got caught into the wall, and this cow was running against the wall, and the nail therefore ended up on him. So therefore, there's no that doesn't work that way. There's no poison that's going to pass from this way if it's detached the nail from the rest of the animal. So even though most of the cows do rub themselves against the wall, if you don't, but the rule of this is an opposing rule. You don't find anywhere that a cow rubbing against the wall suddenly is a nail. Somebody's claw is sitting on them. Says what you're right. We have two opposing rules. Leaving the chazaka, what the animal is not a dorus, and have a suffix drusa. So what is it? A suffix drusa. But Rabbi Tamei Damri, he says, "Ain't choishin l'suffix drusa." Rab holds in our choishes, and we'll see later. Shmuel holds that you are choishes. You're choishes to suffix drusa. This is how Rashi learned Pshat Gemara. Taisa says not the Pshat is that Roiv Arois are actually dorsim. Because then you definitely should be machmer. He says that Roiv Arois have the potential to be doidus. And a few of them are sick. The two lions sick, they can't be doidus. So if he found a nail in the wall, probably it came from this is what happened. Not that we found a nail in the wall. The lion was sick, fell down on the floor next to the wall. The cow is rubbing against the wall and against the leg of the lion. The leg of the lion can't move or anything else because it's very sick. So the nail from the leg of the lion went into the cow while it was rubbing against the wall, but there was no kavana, there was no malicious intent, so therefore there's no poison. That's how Rick takes learns at Hogamara. Okay. When do we say that? When do we say the venom passes only the nail if you found the nail there? So we say, how did the nail get there? It has nothing to do with the bird of prey. There was the drusa. The nail is no longer there, but you see it's all swelling, or you see, a groove there, which is the size of a nail. So you see a nail used to be there. Then choshin. Then we're choshin. That's a normal case. Right, the nail was still attached to the animals, and then we say, yeah, maybe there was a drus over here. When you say that a nail is found, that we are not choishish elalacha if it's moist, and there's still blood there, so therefore it's not common. Why would it fall off the lion's hand? So therefore we say the way I should learn is that the lion somehow or another got caught in the wool, and then the animal went into the animal. But if the nail was totally dry, which means it could have been the lion, poked, stabbed the animal, or clawed the animal, but it fell off. It fell off because it was all dry. A fungus there, and it dried up. Of the Mishnah, It's common then it should fall off, and therefore it is a drusa. V'lachan, even we say lacha that it's moist and it's not a drusa. If you found only one nail, aval tarti v'tlas. If you found 2 or 3 nails, then choshen. The chance of that being of 2 or 3 nails caught on the wall and the animal got it by rubbing the wall, that's not. But when do we say that we assume that it was a drusa? If all the nails are lined up like the way it's on the hand, on the claws of this animal, the wolf or the lion, so then you can see that it must have come, that he must have put his hand inside the animal. Even we learned Rabba, ain't choshen of a drusa. And Shmuel says we are choshen l'safik drusa. Unfortunately, try to understand why Rav is makel. Why isn't he chayshish? Some say because it's like a sex fake, all kinds of issues here. Kuliyama, Suffolk, the go like this. Suffolk loyalty that everybody agrees. Suffolk we don't know if that line was even there or not. Ema loyal. So the Rajba another learned pshadi because of sex fake. First of all, who said he went in? And even went in, who said he was doidus? Suffolk kalba, Suffolk shuna. If it's a Suffolk, if it's a dog or a cat does not have any venom, and a cat does. Ema kalba, we're making again kalba. Is a machlekes and the shayni whether we say vaday that it's definitely mutal chatzil go ahead, or it means it's only a Suffolk now. Which means, do you need bdika or don't you need bdika? If it's a vaday het, you don't have to even do bdika. If it's a Suffolk, maybe you have to do bdika to see whether there was a drus or not. Shasik. What happens? The animal, the animal prey. Let's say the wolf is there, quiet. The Asa Benai sitting amongst the cow, let's say the sheep, and nobody's making noises. Then Ein Mishalma Shabi, Mashiach Titan. Regards Zev and Keves, they're all very happy. As Rashi says, it's quite common. Rashi says that animals are domesticated, and they learn to live with human beings, and even wild animals, can grow up with human beings and other animals, and they behave. If you found one head decapitated, which means that this wolf or this lion, was angry and attacked one of the animals, then must have, remember, the animal has to be angry to pass the venom and to be doidus. He probably calmed down. He had his fill. He killed one animal, and that's it. Everyone is screaming, but we should come about said nothing happened. They're all scared of each other, and they're all yelling. Adodi. He pligi. The whole machlek Shmuel is. The Iyu Koshasi, the lion or wolf is quiet, maybe he's very content, and the Inu Kamakarkin, but all the other animals there are screaming their heads off. Masava Maisikov, why is he screaming? Because obviously he did something terrible, they're all scared. Well, Masava Machma Bisusikovda, and they're doing because they're scared, not because anything really happened. They see a lion there, they see a wolf there, they get scared. Omar Meimah says, Hilchas Allah is Chayshin L'Safik Jerusa, the Allah is like Shmuel, but Chayshin for a Safik Jerusa. Omar Rashel Meimah, Haide Rav Mai. Are you just ignoring Rab's opinion? He says, I'm paskening. Even though Rab said this, I'm paskening Shmuel. All you both say, another answer is, in fact, Rab changed his mind. How do I know that? There was a basket full of birds, the Suffolk Jerusas. There's a basket full of birds of Suffolk Jerusas. What it means, Suffolk Jerusas, that our nates flew into the basket, a bunch of little birds there. Our nates flew in, now we don't know what happened. Came before Rav. Now there's a big machlekes also. If there was a definitely drusa, in fact, Tosfos brings over here. If there was a definitely drusa, does bdika help? No, when we say you can be baidik, just checks how to see whether drusa or not. Does it only help by a suffix? So then we add the fact that's a suffix, and because this check is not that 100%, not that conclusive, but together with a suffix, we're going to say it's all right. But if it's a vaday drusa, then the checking is not going to help. Or do we say that even Vadai Jerusa, this checking helps? So what happened here was a whole basket full of Jerusa. Answer Rav came before Rav. Shadrinu l'kamer Shmuel. You know what? Ashmu. So what did Shmuel do? Shmuel holds that b'chayshinan. So Chankinu, he made sure he strangled every bird. V'shadrinu v'nor, then he tossed it away into the nar. Now Yisak that lahadabei, if Rav did not change his mind, l'shinu, why did Rav just paskin that it's mutter? He's like, I'm not chayshish. You didn't see it being doidus. You just saw the nates flying in. I'm not chayshish. So Gemara asks back, Elamai hadabei. So you can tell me when Rab changed his mind. So listen, let him pass him that it's also what he sent to Shmuel for. Says Ela Asay the Shmuel have Rab Shmuel city. Now there's 2 ways of learning pshat here. One way of learning pshat is that the Rab did change his mind. Rav did change his mind, so why didn't he paskin? Because out of covered for Shmuel, and he shouldn't, so he said, let Shmuel's the Rav of the city, go get him. Go ask him. The other way shot is Rashi says that he heard is Faket. Rav did not change his mind, and he held that it's totally awesome. Sorry. The other shot is that if Rav it goes further. The Rav did change his mind. The proof is because if Rav did not change his mind and he actually believes it, there's two ways long shot. One way that Rav still maintains that it's us, but because of the Shmuel's thing, out of respect, he said, "You know what? I'm not going to pass in my din." Shmuel said, "If he thinks it's also, then it's us." The other shot is no. Rav definitely did change his mind because if he didn't change his mind, Shmuel aher Shmuel ahin ain't chokin kov mokum Rav. A yid is about to lose money. He has to come out and say that no, it's mutter. Don't kill the birds. It's mutter. So, why did he have to strangle all the birds? Send them away. So Gemara said, but now just throw them into the river, don't throw them away. Gemara says, we're worried that they can go flying and then somebody else will trap them and they'll eat them thinking they won't even realize there's something to here. According to the day that says you wait 12 months and then if it's still alive, that said, I obviously not drusa. Also, really cool. So many little birds, having so many birds around your place for a year, the chances are that you're going to eat whatever it is will become takala. So if you want to sell to a goy, baltashkas, also Yisrael, I know the goy won't turn around and sell to a yid. So let him just strangle it with and throw it out in the garbage. Why make a whole nuisance and bring the whole basket of birds and throw them in the river in public display? But he said, according to you, so he could have also thrown the dogs. Why asking about, the tip, asking you can throw the dogs as well? Navas. He did it. He wants everyone to know. He wants everyone to know that that it's also too many birds here. So Rashi said there were too many birds here. They couldn't check it. In other words, because this is only a suffix drusa. The suffix drusa definitely you can check. Everyone holds a suffix you can check. As we're still thinking about it, but it didn't because there's just too many birds, or it wasn't worth the time. There were small little birds that didn't have much value. Wasn't worth the time. Or actually, another shot is that the poison was not that strong, and because the poison of the nature is not that strong, and therefore the signs that we learn later about the blossom around it becoming red is only by a more powerful venom, not such a weak venom. So anyway, right, there was a duck, the Havi Beit of Ashi, there was a place of Ashi, all Lebein Kanya, the duck wandered about amongst the beans. Lafak, he came out, Asya, Kim Masme's Kuadam, his entire neck was filled with blood. And the question is, what happened here? We don't say Suffolk Kalva, Suffolk Shumra. We don't say maybe a dog, maybe a cat. Aim a Kalba, Hachanami. Over here also, don't we say by Suffolk dog, Suffolk cat, we say maybe it's a cat. We make it before, we said maybe it was a dog. So over here too, Suffolk Kanya, Suffolk Shunya, Aim a Kanya Mechia, say that it was hit by this reed, that it was, and therefore nothing to do with Jerusalem. Whenever there's a Suffolk, we are Mekel.
What the reeds
We're talking about we cannot tell if we can tell what the Jerusalem talking about. Yeah, maybe he got cut, he banged his head against something. When we say a Jerusalem requires bedika, we're talking about keneged b'nei ma'ai. What do you buy it? The entire section of the intestines, everything. The entire belly basically from the forelegs to the hind legs, the entire area underneath. You open it up and you check it to see whether there are red spots around, as we'll see. And because if the basar is red, even though the poison might not have entered yet the other parts yet, we know that eventually it burns, it continues burning, doesn't stop, and eventually the animal is going to become treif. It'll make a puncture in the intestines and so on. and that's the part that becomes doris. So the Gemara, and this taste of Drusa Shambru is what taste of brings us machlekes and the Rishonim, the Rivam and others, whether by a Vadai Drusa we also say this B'dika helps or only by Suffolk. Because it says that B'nei Rabchia Drusa Shambru. They say why is it B'nei Rabchia and not the names Chizk and Yehuda is, they were twins, even though we're looking at Rivams, they were 3 months apart, they were twins, is because they were very, very young. Under Bar Mitzvah, they were saying these things. They were big Tamil Chachamim. Whenever they were very, very young, they called B'nei Rabchia. Anyway, right? Amar Rabbi Yosef, Hod, Ben Rabbi Chia, Kvar Pitcher Shmuel. This is what Ben Rabbi Chia said. Shmuel already said it before. No, Shmuel, Moshe, Mechani, Ben Atigna, the Rusa Sham, not Yibdik, Connect, Ben Imayim. Which section you have to do, Ben Imayim? By Ilfa, interesting, I told you mentioned a few times already. That Ilfa was Rabbi Yechan's friend in Mauritania. Then he went. Rabbi Yechan became a yeshiva, and Ilfa went into business. And Ilfa said, "Ask me any Mishnah, any Braisa, any Braisa, I'll show you what's in the Mishnah." Is we don't find Ilfa in Shas generally, but only in Kachin. Zvochin, we had him a few times here. He's like, only in Kachin. That was his forte. By Ilfa. Yes, Jerusalem, Samanim. Okay, are we worried about Jerusalem also in the Samanim area? By the trachea, by the Safka? Do we say that it's so thick the poison cannot penetrate, it won't make it safe, or not? This time I said name Rab. Jerusalem is entire base of Chol. Afilu b'Simonim includes also the Simonim. Includes also the Simonim. That become treif there as well. If the Simonim were sort of detached in many parts, what happens then? And how much does it be attached before we say it's a problem that it's treif? I mean, even though I don't do the previous Gemara about Drusa, but since it's Ilfa and so on and so forth, we're mentioning it here. Rabbi Abzeda, and also Abzeda was before. So Abzeda said, this is what Ilfa asked. Rabbi Chana already explained. Rabbi Chana b'Shmuel, Simonim should have dowdled the Ruban. If it was a dowdled bereiv, that was removed in many places. We did have before. The Gemara said that if most of it is cut off, but you have a sizable amount still left on the bottom, then it's kosher. It's only because in many places, so there's no one area that is big enough to say that it's going to reheal itself again. Reheal. So anyway, right. But Rabbi, a question: what about if it's, let's say, we rotted away? What happens if, let's say, it was dorsa in the thigh, not where the chol is, and we see that there's a puncture? So what happens? And it became rotten. When it comes to drusa, what do we look at? We look at the entire area of the bnei mayim, where the intestines are and all the stomachs, and we look at the flesh next to it. The area become red. But if it rotted away, then imagine that the meat is gone. It's not there. If the meat that is gone doesn't really affect the animal, then it's not treif. In other words, if the doctor, let's say the animal's sick, the doctor was prepared to cut out this section of the animal so that to the animal to live, you cut out part of the stomach so the animal can live, then that doesn't matter. But if it's not a part that you can cut away, then obviously it's a problem. If the doctor would cut it away in order to make sure that and leave just the healthy meat and that's enough for the animal to live, then it doesn't make the animal treif. But Isaac come on, he brought over there this lung, when it sat there, if it just sat there, it was intact, whole. But the moment you picked it up, Havi tilcha v'nafla tilcha. Pieces started to fall off. In other words, it's like it was rotten. It was tarif and he made it treif, but we just learned from Rabbi Yeshua. And Nachman says, because when it comes to thorn, ad shetinokiv lecholom, that is by a thorn, until it reaches the cavity, it's not a problem. It's only when it passes through the cavity into the cavity area, that's when it becomes a problem. Why? Because then we're scared that maybe the thorn touched the intestines. You don't see a hole anymore. It's too small. You can't see it. What's the check? The check is if the bossa around it became red or not. By drusa, we look at the red of the meat. But the simonim, he adds simonim, could be said before, simonim also it could be. By everywhere else, if the meat around it became red, that's enough because the poison eventually will travel and go in. But by the simonim, if it's next to it, that's not enough because the simonim is much thicker. It has to be then it's self-affected. We said that the esophagus, the slightest puncture makes it safe. The drusa also, how much? The slightest puncture, same thing as a nekev. Corner, the trachea, we learned if it's either psukkah, it's completely cut off, or if there's a hole, we said it's the size of an isa, the size of a coin. What about drusosai? if the drusa, if the penetrated claw went into the trachea, how big of an area does it have to cover? Remember, you just said now it has to be inside the trachea itself, not next to it. When it comes to the poison, even by the trachea, it's only a mashu. My time, but why? Because zira mikle koli vazel might start out as a mashu, but the poison burns and spreads, and therefore that mashu will become the size of an isser. So therefore, by trachea is possible. We'll stop over here. We'll continue tomorrow. Have a good day.